it's just completely flooded. I bring my dog down here to the dog park, let her play all the time, and it's just completely underwater. There's nothing. It's just, it's all overrun with water. I've got my dog down here today. We're just looking around and just, trying to see if we can find any animals or anything else that's hurt or in distress, and just doing what we can to help. And it's just such a sad situation. It's just terrible.
I noticed a lot of kids, a lot of babies. They were dead yesterday, and I feel sorry for the parents, family, and I feel sorry for all the community, and I want you to know we with them.
Make it through it day by day. So
I'm devastated by what's happened to these families, to this town, but I'm also joyful to see the efforts that the community is all pitching in.
You know, I've got 2 babies at home. It's the least I could do. You know, they're home safe, and there's people out there that they're missing their children or their family members. So I feel like it's the least I could do to help. So, yeah, it's what I would want if my kids were missing. So. It's gut-wrenching watching all of this happen. I mean, it happened so fast, and I wanted to come out sooner, but I also didn't want to be in the way of waiting for things to get done. So, you know, we came out to as quick as we could to help search, hopefully to find people that are still alive. So, but it's devastating looking at everything, and to think that this was underwater 2 days ago tugs on my heart. So.
Best case scenario is we find some folks who are still alive, get them the help that they need, and just send them back to their families for a happy reunion. Best possible ending to this scenario, but we recognize that 3 days out, there's likely a fair amount of folks who unfortunately did not survive as well. But being able to find the remains and perhaps let their families know some clarity on what exactly happened for sure. I know if I was in that situation myself, it would bring me some closure knowing definitively what happened instead of continuously holding out, wondering if the one I love is still out there. Seeing all the devastation and the trees and the clothing, the random bits of flotsam floating around the river really hits home, you know, how many people are affected by this, the depth of the tragedy and destruction that we're all going through right now. So that gives quite a somber feeling to just be out here seeing it in person rather than just on the news.
What you see out here is volunteers from military, ex-military to localized civilians that are coming out to help search and rescue for whatever we can find in the area. And it's all coordinated by volunteer efforts. Yesterday we had roughly about 375 volunteers here and on the ground. Today we're predicting probably close to 600 volunteers plus.